This is number 28. And I kind of held off on doing oral blog. I'm doing a blog for a while. What with all the recent news and plethora of things that you could talk about. Today I went over to the NASA International Space Station website, nasa.gov/mission pages/station/index. And I took a look at what the people, the crew on the crew on the ISS right now are up to.
Landing time of 2:53 a.m. Central Time.
And you know, we get so wrapped up in you can get so wrapped up in your own world and news that we lose sight of the bigger picture. Right now on the ISS you have Catherine Coleman, Dmitry Kondratyev, the commander, and Paolo Nespoli. Sounds like a three-person crew right now for March till September of 2011. And for those of you who don't know, the ISS, the International Space Station, has been manned with manned and woman for the last 10 years. I was watching a video earlier where they were commenting on the fact that they're hoping that the fact that that isn't a surprise, or that isn't like news, is actually a good thing, and indicative of progress in the field of astronomy. What's neat, I think, is that you can, you know, on their YouTube channel, here's Scott Kelly providing like a tour, basically. I think that's kind of neat. I mean, when I was growing up, when I was younger, and you'd think about, you know, one day I would love to go to space, and I wanted to be a pilot when I was younger as well. You know, I never thought that one day we'd be able to just skim through video of this flight engineer, Katie Coleman, flying through the ISS, documenting their daily life. They have daily they boil down kind of their daily activities and do daily updates, which is pretty wild. You know, when you consider where they are, and I guess that's where technology would have to sort of head. So imagine that for the last 10 years there's been people on the ISS. Sometimes when things get overwhelming down here on Earth, you can imagine that there's other people, human beings like yourself, who are literally looking down on the entire planet. In a good way, like looking down and not a part of all the things that we get so wrapped up in. So sometimes when I'm thinking of all the moderately depressing news that I sometimes talk about on my website and on these YouTube videos or videos that I do, sometimes I think to myself, you know what, there's lots of people who don't even have any of this daily grind and press of news and in their daily life. Specifically, there's a crew of people right now that have one of the coolest views. I heard that they pass over every part of the world like 15 times a day or something like that. They watch the sunrise and set repeatedly over and over again, and that's pretty cool. I think that our technology is far beyond that. I think that there's actually it's open knowledge about a secret space program. I think that NASA is sort of like a front to show what on average everybody understands that we're capable of. But I think in the skunk works departments of various companies that we're light years beyond, you know, the Canadarm and the rusted out ISS hovering over the planet. I think that we're have bases on the moon, probably have bases on Mars, probably have people living on the moon and mining the moon. I know there's 3 guys that own the mineral rights for the moon. You can look up Universal Mineral Leases Registry, I believe it is. You can Google all this information, but there's three people that have that own the mineral rights for the moon. I've covered this before. I'm just sort of repeating myself. I can do this right now. Universal Mineral Leases Registry. UMLR.US. Created by Dr. Joseph A. Resnick, a contemporary scientist and inventor. Dr. Resnick has worked with NASA for more than 28 years on various projects, including the Space Shuttle and the Space Shuttle suits. Because Dr. Resnick is a chemist and has a direct appreciation for the value of minerals and elements, his opinion is that certain elements found only on certain planets in our solar system, as well as those yet undefined, will need to be harvested someday by mankind. Thus, this registry. Him and 2 other guys, basically, if you want to look at it like that, own the moon. Which of course is ridiculous, but knowing that things are ridiculous doesn't stop ridiculous things from happening now, does it? And so here we are, left to ponder all that is, and all that could have been, and all that will be, and all that is that we don't know about. I have no interest in presenting false information, and I have no interest in lying to people. I have no motivation to lie to people, and I'm not the type of person to withhold information because I want to feel powerful. That's not really my personality. I withhold information when it's I mean, everybody has things they don't talk about or things that are secret, but in that same sense, if you consider a relationship with your creator of whatever faith, that creator has secrets as well. There's things that we'll just never know in this life, and there's things that we aren't told. But I have no interest in lying to people. So the information that I cover and that I present is of interest to me, and also I find presenting the information that I do in my blogs and all that rewarding, you know, to know that you're trying to present information to people and help to open people's minds and eyes. Not that I have full knowledge, full spectrum knowledge of anything. Thomas Edison said at best, humans will know 1% of anything. Not 1% of everything, but 1% of anything. And the beginning of wisdom is to know how much you don't know, right? Somebody has said. So here we are. I talked in one of my last videos about the truth of everything. You know, we can't tell them the truth of everything. Everything! And if somebody could tell you the truth of everything, you know, 99% of people wouldn't be interested. I was just looking up this star that's exploding and dying, Betelgeuse. There's China news reporting that people have seen 2 sunsets, and they have video of this, 2 suns. And it was mentioned on the BBC as well under discussing this dying star, Betelgeuse. And that seems to be like pretty nonchalant, factual information, but people are, you know, online, you know, in comment sections and forums, just, you know, it can't be, it's all fake, everything's fake. Like, what does it matter if it's fake or not? Does it really affect your life? Like, I look at truth. I've always, like, I haven't always said, but for the last little while I've said that, you know, truth is truth, and I'm a person that's of the truth. It's not truth that has to change, it's me and my opinion. If you believe something is true and then somebody comes and corrects you and says, actually, no, this is the truth, like, somebody says, well, no, there isn't two suns, and somebody comes along and says, yeah, there is, look, there is, here's the proof. If the truth was all along that there is really 2 suns, one is not the regular sun that we know, but this exploding star, if somebody factually laid it out to you and proves it to you with video and everything, and you're finally convinced, you know, what does it matter? It didn't affect your waking up and going to sleep. So some things, information that I've come across in my life, of course, has rocked my world. Like, I want to talk about rocking my world information. You know, discovering that this Messiah character that the Christians talk about, discovering that his name wasn't Jesus, that he never heard that name. I think that was one of the first things that ever rocked my world, you know, when it finally sunk in, you know, that's actually factual. J is like a 500-year-old letter. He spoke Aramaic, Hebrew, probably not Greek. What's called the New Testament was written pretty much entirely in Hebrew, originally by Hebrew-speaking, Torah-observant Jewish people. So to say that this Hebrew-born, Torah-observant Israelite was named a Mexican farmer's name, or a Roman god-worshipping deity name, it's pretty far-fetched when you look at it analytically and objectively, but, you know, talk to some Christians about that and, you know, it's like talking to a brick wall. I'm not trying to That's the funny thing, is when you're in the right, I don't get flustered about this. This is all factual information that if a pastor worth his salt or a teacher worth his salt would be honest about, and a lot of them are, that they would know this and they would teach this, and a lot of them do, and a lot of them don't. A lot of people are just ignorant. If the old King James was good enough for the apostles, then it's good enough for me, right? I've heard that before. So truth is truth, and I'm of the truth. You know, if there really are man-made spacecrafts or man-made UFOs and the government's keeping them from us, and it's true, you know, that they're flying these things in secret space programs and going to other planets, and they've discovered that when they travel at a certain rate of speed, that they actually are traveling through time according to Einstein's equation. If that's all true, does that affect you? Does it affect me? Are you ever going to get to see or fly one of those man-made UFOs? No, probably not. Am I going to ever be able to fly one of those man-made UFOs? No, probably not. Because I know the things that I know and I'm open to truth, does it mean that NSA agents or FBI or CIA or secret mercenaries are going to come in here and shoot me in the head? No. It's at that point in the game, people, where those vested in the control of the world, I don't think they really care anymore as to who knows what, because of the internet and the advent of free-flowing information, and things are moving so fast nowadays that I just don't think, I think like it's like all bets are off and the stops are being pulled out. You know what? We infected Guatemalans with STDs. What of it? You know? Yeah, we put sterilants in your water. Yeah, we're putting fluoride in your water to dumb you down. So what? If enough of you complain, we'll take it out. Like they're at that point where they're doing it in the open now. So I think the last person on a hitman's list would be me, for knowing the things I know. And there's people out there that know a lot more than I do, and I don't think they're at risk either. The biggest risk that I think that they would be in was if you get them in a room with those aforementioned people of faith. Some people go crazy, you know. I'm not trying to lie to anybody. Like I said, I have no interest in deceiving anybody, but what I do have interest in is the truth. You know, life is fragile. You can go up, I was looking at this website where it's showing video of all these dead people from Libya, these massacres in Libya and massacres around the world, and the thing that you can take away from that is that life is fragile, and the pride and the arrogance of our lives is that we continue on in them, not realizing it, maybe not paying homage to it, not being prideful, you know. They say pride comes before a fall, and in my experience, I've noticed that to be true. You know, there's so many things that, as a species, right now, we're being held back from. David Rockefeller said that competition is a sin. And I'm sure if the banksters and the people that own the banks that finance the world, the people that actually, the families that own the banks, and the military-industrial complex, I'm sure if they had their way, they would pit the poor against the middle class, and by pitting the poor against the middle class, they eliminate both their competition. And competition is a sin, therefore the middle class can't ever reach the upper class, and the upper class can't ever reach the super upper class, and what's left is a group of families that will continue on running the things that they've always run. And people can say, well, how can this be? This isn't fair. This isn't the American dream. Well, it's called the American dream because you have to be asleep to believe it's real. whether you like it or not, there really is monarchies and royal dictatorships and theocracies, and there's theocracies with some sort of parliament under them that appease sort of both sides of the people. There's you know, like take the illusion of ownership in Canada. People are so crazy when they think of ownership, and if I spelled it out for people, they'd say like, oh yeah, that's true, that's true, that's true. But we still have this illusion of ownership here. Like I rode off a car once on the highway, and the engine just blew up. It was an old car, and I had to pull over. So I pull over, I took the plates off, and I figured, well, I'll go back into town and I'll call a tow truck. No big deal. And while I'm gone, you know, of course, the police pull up and they see it, they tag it, they say, if you don't come get this, you know, because it's parked on a municipal highway, or it's parked on, basically, it's our road, not yours. And if you don't come get it, then we're gonna start fining you or tow it and then give you the fine. And not that that's wrong, I'm just saying that clearly demonstrates that the roads that you drive on aren't yours. Okay, let's start with that. If you're caught drinking and driving, the police can take your car in this country and charge you. So, you know, we drive around in cars and we say they're ours, but, you know, drink and drive and see whose car it is. You know, there's a picture I saw yesterday of a police, it's an Escalade with a caption on the back that says, this used to be a drug dealer's car. You know, saying that, you know, we repossess vehicles, and the ones that we like we'll use. I'm not saying that all police, you know, are corrupt and looking for your car and all that to turn it into a police vehicle, but that's just what I saw. So, you know, your car, try driving around without plates on your car or insurance on your car. So we say it's our car, and I hate to. Maybe it was inspired by Tyler Durden, maybe it wasn't. But the things that you own end up owning you. I mean, don't pay electricity for 2 months and see what happens to your house with your electricity. You know, you won't have electricity in your house unless you figure out some other way. Don't pay your mortgage payments. Then whose house is it? It's the bank's house. And finally, the land in Canada. I have a friend that owns 37 acres of crown land, and the illusion is that when you own land, you can do whatever you want, but as they found out with crown land in North Ontario, they can't really do anything there. They can't put a permanent structure there. They can put a trailer there, and they have restrictions on how many trees they can clear and whatnot, proving once again that this land isn't the Queen's. And you could say, well, that's perfectly reasonable, you know, you have to have some certain amount of area for trees and all that, but that's not what I'm talking about. The ownership of the land of the entirety of Canada is exclusive to one person, and that's the Queen of England. Everything else is called tenure, and we hold it for as long as we hold it. You know, if the Queen or the Prime Minister wanted to pave a road through your backyard on your land, they'll do it. They ask and then eventually they just do. But there's a website called Who Owns the World that shows who owns the world. WhoOwnsTheWorld.com. As you can see, I'm just kind of clearly not organized today. I'm just running with trains of thought. Let's talk about the calendar for a second while we're on the topic. Yeah, the calendar is a, you know, Gregorian, Greco-Roman invention, popularized by, you know, exactly what we see today, conquest all over the world. And so the calendar originally started in March. Mars after the planet, and then Sunday was after Sol Invictus, the sun. Monday was after the moon, named after the moon. Tuesday after a Roman god named Tyr. Wednesday after a Roman god named Woden. Thursday after that movie coming up, Thor. Friday after Frigga Dag, another Roman fertility god. And Saturday after Satyr, another Roman god. So that's March. April, Aphrodite, another Roman god. May, Roman god. Maya. What is this? June? Juno. It's another Roman god. July. Can't remember, but it's named after a Roman god. August, named after the Caesar who, Augustus, who got this whole calendar thing up and going. Now this is where it starts to make sense. It's supposed to start to make sense because September means 7 in Latin or Greek. So they name this the 7th month after September. Now, hold on a second. I know what you're thinking. Just give me a second. Octo, the 8th month. I know what you're thinking. Just give me a sec. I was born in this month, so I know exactly what you're thinking. Nova, 9 months. Deca, 10th month. Of course, that's not the 10th month, it's 12th. So what ended up happening was they noticed that this calendar, once they had it made, sorry, I breathed in some dust or something, and it's really bothering my nose. They noticed that it was the seasons were coming later in the year, and then so obviously this couldn't be tolerated. They went to this forgot the name of the guy, but he was inquired of to help correct the problem. So he added 2 months, January and February, to one's a Roman god of beginnings and doorways and arches. Another one's another Roman god. So they added these 2 months, and thus became the Greco-Roman calendar that we have. It's a dragnet that holds everybody in its grip, and people find it sort of amusing maybe the first time they hear it, but there's 9 months, a period of gestation or pregnancy between Easter and Christmas, because Easter and Christmas, the two dates, predate any sort of Catholic or even Roman tradition. They go as far back as interpreting all the astrological signs and seasons based on sex. So the sun was dying in the latter parts of the year and then reborn, around December, when the waning sun after the festival of Samhain started. The waning sun started growing again, or being longer days, and then marked by the fertilization pregnancy of Easter. Another time of year where they would roll eggs over fields to some sort of imbue, you would hope that it would cause the fields to be fertile. And fish were a popular symbol for around Easter for the same reason. Fish eggs. So we're stuck in we're all born into this crazy system, and if you trace back history far enough, you'd see that our grandparents and our grandparents before them sort of had nothing to do with this crazy matrix of pagan, Babylonian, Western secular hypocrisy that we're surrounded by. And we're all born into this matrix of Western secular, pagan, Roman hypocrisy, and it's up to us individually to stay in it or get out of it. And unfortunately, because as you know, peer pressure and all things like peer pressure kind of keep people swimming with the stream instead of going upstream or breaking away from the school. And you know, we have people that come back and say, "Hey, man, that worm over there, it's dangling. It's not just a worm, man. There's a guy up there. He's got a fishing rod. He's got a hook. It's gonna kill you." And then the other guys come around. No way, no way. That's not gonna happen. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm just warning you. Just warning you." And then you got some big fish that occasionally get the breadcrumb droppings from the fisherman who is trying to attract, you know, his prey for the day, who come by to the little fish and say, hey, what are you talking about? That worm over there has got a hook in it. It's gonna kill you. Don't be talking like that. What do you want us to eat you? Hey, we like this guy. This guy hooks us up with food every day. So this is a predicament that we're in. And you have people jostling for control over the levers of power throughout history. Family dynasties and family bloodlines and various people competing. Some people trace it to 4 families, and some people say there's a group of elite ruling elite. Some people don't admit that there's any such thing. Which of course would be sort of silly if you look at things objectively, but we're all here together on planet Earth, you know, right now. And it's a pretty horrible situation what's going on in the in Libya. I think that objectively looking at it, if you were your own independent sovereign country and somebody else came to enforce and impose a no-fly zone on your country, and you didn't invite them, and they're also coming to depose you as ruler, I think you'd be pretty upset about the whole thing. And regardless of what side you come down on. Now, I have a lot of Muslim friends who, in the Arabic-speaking world, who listen to this guy and who know about him better than I do, about Gaddafi, and they say they're happy that they're siding with the U.S. this once and saying, you know, they're on the U.S.'s side. So, because apparently he's done atrocious things to his own people, and, you know, not outside of all that, he's been the king for 40 years, and move aside, step aside. Of course, Gaddafi doesn't see it that way, and here we are. There's lots of other things going on in the world. I mean, we can just get a map and start at one side and go to the other if you want, while I'm in the mood to talk crazy talk to people. Let's do that. I'm pulling up a map of the world. Not that I'm a big fan of 30 Seconds to Mars, but that song just popped in my head. Kings and Queens is a better song, but here we go. Alright, map of the world. Alright, so what do we got here? Alright, here's a map of the world. Map of the world. You know, according to, because of the recent news, let's actually look at the map this way. Now, for those of you who don't know what the jet stream is pardon me, is like a current of air that goes basically at the 19.47 latitudes of the planet. I'm just drawing what 19.47 latitude looks like. It would be like 19.47 would be right there. And the reason it's there is because everything in the world, everything in the universe seems to be spinning. And this is where we get into sacred geometry, the rings on Saturn, etc., etc. So 19.47 latitude would be here, and you know, you could flip it upside down and be the same thing. So everything at the same hand has a north and a south pole. Anyway, so side topic, the jet stream kind of goes on Earth, you can imagine. So the top one is right there, and there's a one on the bottom, I'd assume. I don't know too much about that, but anyway, Japan is right here. So they had this, you know, horrible earthquake slash tsunami slash Fukushima nuclear reactor breakdown explosion, and then the cloud of nuclear loaded dust went up into the jet stream and is now coming over as of Friday, and has landed on the west coast of our continent here. So we get a lot of our fruits and vegetables from the west coast, from California. So this is a pretty big problem for farmers. And some people have even talked about you should be vacating the Southern California if you live there. And that's some pretty drastic extremes, and you know, I don't really know exactly what to say about that. We can look down at Mexico here and talk about what's up in Mexico. Of course, there's a crazy drug cartel war raging between various gangs and families that are jostling for control, and if you want to get sliced and diced up and have your head cut off and your thumb or something worse put in your mouth and your body left on the front of some sort of building or whatever, then go down there and try to start selling drugs. It's a crazy situation. Spin the world over here to Libya, and that brings us here to Libya. So, you know, recently there was apparently all these rebellions started out with a man in Tunisia who was upset about the government not allowing him to sell fruits and vegetables, and he did some self-immolation, and then that fire apparently caught on in the proverbial terms and sort of spread all the way around. You know, it's a weird thing. Libya is on a fault line let's look up tectonic plates of the world to better explain that that earthquake in Japan. You can see that Japan sort of is on an area that's intersecting 3 tectonic plates, and this is a map of the 7 major tectonic plates on the Earth that are shifting around: the Pacific, Philippine, and the Eurasian plate, and the Indo-Australian plate. sort of all collide at this area here. So already it's a hot spot for earthquake activity, volcanic activity. So whether or not HAARP was involved or not can be a sort of side topic. I personally think that it was, however crazy you want to call me, but side issue. And for those of you who are still in the dark as to what HAARP is, a good crash course would be checking out there's a conspiracy theory with Jesse Ventura that discusses it. But they also have HAARP Alaska has a website. There we go. The induction magnetometer, or whatever you want to call it. So this is HAARP Alaska's magnetometer. So this is the spectral graph for today. This is showing the activity of the HAARP array. And for those of you who are interested, you can go throughout this and check dates where there have been severe earthquakes, and you'll notice that these spikes are off the chart. With days like the Haiti earthquake. And this recent one, we'll say 2011 March, day, say the 10th. Enter. As you can see here, pretty clearly, it's off the chart. Now Tesla was saying with the weapons that, with the HAARP weapon that Tesla made, he could literally split the world in half. Tesla was also known to be a little grandiose in his speaking. If you don't know who Tesla is, he's the guy who's powering your home from Niagara Falls. He won a challenge in the 1800s to harness energy from Niagara Falls. As it stands this day, we get a lot of our power from Niagara Falls. So you can thank him for this fancy thing, which he said has the ability to split the world in half and create earthquakes. And you can also thank him for electricity in your house. Tortured genius who died penniless, also dealt with J.P. Morgan. J.P. Morgan, the financier, banking tri-trillionaire.